So I talked before about how the mental concept of the self in the head and the thought form ghost that you carry around with you was the easiest part to dissolve. Well, I'm starting to realise that it's all connected. Well, it's all connected into the physical body and the perception of this reality. And I talked about moving the deconstructing intelligence into the physical body and the physical body's relationship to the environment. So I seem to be particularly sensitive to the visual sense and the discovery of insight through the visual sense. So I'm experiencing some changes in perception. In the visual field. Some glitches. However, because I and my ego are very identified with the body and the physical feel of the body and the proprioception and so on, like for example, I was into sports and weightlifting and bodybuilding. That seems to be, those physical sensations seem to be a lot more dense, a lot more solid. But the visual field is, my perception of that is changing. So it's almost as though the gap's being closed and there's no distance, or as in the distance is an illusion. For example, like I said, when you look at something, are you looking at that from the person, or is the thing you're looking at you? Or is it just a relationship, an instantaneous relationship where both things are aware of themselves and they're actually not separate? And having that realization is the world's presenting itself to me in a different way. It's almost like the visual field is like the world has become somewhat two-dimensional, but it's not like you're watching a two-dimensional screen. It's like you're in it, and all of this is just appearing in this space that transcends space and time, this space in not space. And it shows you that the entire universe is right here. Like, there's no distance to the universe. The entire universe is here, and it's right here, everywhere. And it's showing me that there's no, at least I'm experiencing in this in the visual field, there's no separate transcendent dimension outside of time and space. It's all right here. It is everything. It's in everything. Everything is it. Form is it. Time and space is the transcendent dimension. There's no separation between the two. it's like everything is appearing, moving, disappearing, coming out of, but is like this infinite void. Like I said about the two-dimensional thing, it's not really like that. You could also say it's like an extra dimension to three-dimensional time-space at the same time. It's like a fourth dimension, but like a flat dimension that all the illusion of the three-dimensional world appears from, but is not separate from. And I've been hearing people talk about this, but I didn't know what they were going on about, and I even hear some people, some kind of teachers or people that talk about this say that like after this happens, you can't function in time space, and like you can't drive a car and all that kind of stuff. But I'm driving a car right now. It's not like, for me, at least for me, it's not like, maybe it's happening gradually, but it's not like it drastically changes my entire perception. My visual field changes. It has changed a bit, but it's more my perception of the information that's being given to me. But all the form and my ability to interact with that form is still there. It's just closed the gap. There's no distance. Everything's just there. Everything's infinite, and the illusion of the space has kind of been seen through, but the illusion still operates. Although the physical body still is very dense, it feels to be dense. Although things are seem like this space is moving through the body more at times, and it creates this creepy, kind of scary feeling of emptiness or lack of boundaries or loss of self that has given me a couple little panic attacks and exaggerated mind activity. It seems like when you deconstruct or untangle one of the layers of the self, it goes, and then the next part just goes, and then you untangle that, then the next part just goes, and those parts that can contract and grasp are difficult to spot. And it seems like the conceptual information that I've learned is making itself obsolete. Like, I think there is some value in the concepts, in that they prepare you for the insight. They prepare the mind for what's coming, in a sense. So you're kind of learning something to unlearn something, and I'm not sure if I think some of these contracted parts of the ego are inherent, and it wouldn't really have mattered if I had learned them or not conceptually before practicing this insight. But again, that's just a thought, so it's another thought that I'm just trying to explain. But yeah, the changes in the visual field, it's the perception of the information that that's coming towards you or is there, is what changes, and as a result, then your perception of whatever that information is shifts, and the world appears different. But all this form pretty much is still the same. It's immediate, so when I look at something, me and the thing I'm looking at are connected. It's the one thing that's aware of itself, and that it closes the gap between you and the perceived environment that you're looking at immediately. It closes that gap and it makes it one, if that makes any sense. But yeah, this insight into the visual field is definitely producing some strange effects. Like I said in a video a while ago, it's like the universe becomes contained but also infinitely expansive at the same time. Again, that's what I said I experienced in that peak experience when I was younger. This is the same thing, but now it has a context. Not a context, but it's just there. It's not just an out of context peak experience. And it just came from investigating the visual field. It's really weird. It's like a computer game or a virtual reality. Glitch in the computer program. I think part of what was obscuring this was that idea, that belief or filter of perception that said that there is this infinite entity observing everything that is separate from it, whereas it's not separate. It's entangled into it, is it? If that makes any sense. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. So if you're going to do this one for yourself, what I just explained, just looking with attention and see that what you're perceiving, is that separate from yourself, or are you in a relationship with this? And if you're in an interdependent relationship with this, then what are you and where are you? Where do you start and where does all this end? And then the mind comes up and then starts examining different theories of, well, why is this like this and why is this? But then quiet the mind, go through that and just look with that deconstructing intelligence and curiosity. When you look for long enough with enough attention and openness, then a previously not experienced version of reality or experience of your perception is revealed. But I still very much get the sense that in the visual field, yes, this insight is there, or something is deconstructed. Some perceptual filter of reality has deconstructed, but the physical body now, I can actually feel it more, the density of it, which is strange because this insight leads you to understand that the non-separation between you, your physical body and your senses and the rest of the world, but in a way that this has made the physical body feel more dense by contrast, I suppose. And I'm starting to realise that a lot of the things that I talk about, I've been talking about in these videos are like, yeah, they're mind concepts, but in going in to talk about them, I'm almost creating a conceptual idea in my head around the experiences that I've had and the practice that I'm doing that kind of, in a sense, re-solidifies that concept as narrative going forwards, which in a way has been partially helpful, partially counterproductive. And that in combination with the research and the reading and the watching talks and all that I've been doing. Whereas once you get it, you're like, oh, okay, not as a thought, but it's not. You realise that all the work that you were doing in the mind, or all the work the mind was doing, scrambling about, trying to find something to cling on to, it's a lot of shite. But yeah, I had these little episodes of panic, like physical reaction to this, because it feels like you're losing, you're being lost, self is being lost, you feel like you're going to disappear, because this shift in perception kind of blinds the self, and it doesn't have anything to orient itself to for a while. I guess that's what the physical density reaction is that shift to try and self to try and contract and hold on to this connection to itself in physical reality. Yeah, I suppose, but also I noticed that see when you don't, I used to have road rage and all that, but see when you don't react and you have no need to react and you're kind and so on, you know, some people run through their thing, but see when they see you and they're expecting this reaction that they get from other people, then they change straight away and they become, it's like the peace that I feel now reflects out onto other people instantaneously, and it's quite nice to experience. There's like all these problems that I created for myself, the stress of the person before, it just didn't need to be there. Everything just moves freely now. You don't come up against these blocks of resistance and conflict, and everything's just so much easier that way. I'm actually just having some sort of little insight right now in terms of sound. As in the sound's all here. that it just appeared to me, like the sound, like that lack of distance I mentioned about the vision. Like the vision's all here, the universe is all here. I just got a little bit of that there with the sound, as in sound waves bouncing off things and the sound coming from a separate thing. That again is an illusion of separation. Just a little insight there. Anyway, that's over 20 minutes now, so I'll leave it for now.